Welcome, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to OP Radio, episode number 13. We have a very fitting episode for you today with a fitness-focused NFT collection on Optimism. OptiChads, do you want to do a quick introduction of yourself?
Good morning. Good morning. We're at 10K original art collection on Optimism, and we want people to be fit, whether it's bull, whether it's bear. What good are our bags if we can't even lift them? Like, let's get healthy, let's get moving, let's be optimistic.
Oh, man, that's amazing. And we also have Distraction Boy here with us. Distraction Boy, do you want to say hello to the folks on OP Radio?
Good morning. What's up? Yeah, the website developer for OptiChads, and proud to be a member of the community.
Awesome. Well, I'm super stoked to have you guys here. Like I said, I think this is a real fitting episode for the start of the new year. Everybody comes in with their New Year's resolutions, as I'm sure many of you had, and a lot of those are probably fitness related. So I think this is a perfect episode to start 2023 off. But let's talk a little bit about the origin story, the beginnings of OptiChads. I'm curious how this collection came to be. Can you take us back?
Yeah, cool. So, I'm DeCasso, the artist. So one, it's an original art collection. We're not hiring anyone. I kind of had the idea. Yeah, so it started with L1, like I messed around, made some money, quickly lost it, got rugged in a few projects. I lost optimism. And then, OP token drop happened, and then it changed my life. And it got me and many others kind of like looking into the ecosystem more. And I saw Quicks. I'm like, wow, this is snappy. Made some trades, saw OptiPunks, right? And I was like, okay, they've done great too, and they're donating to public goods. And I wanted to like make my own project, right? So I started talking to people, and a few of us came together, and we just, over a few months, I started like building the art, and we just organically grew a big community. And I met Distraction Boy in that Discord, right? And like he coincidentally lives like 30 minutes away from me, so I've seen him in real life too, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, and there's like 6 people in our team now, 7. I kind of lost count, but it all happened in like a little Discord server for the Optimism NFT project. But yeah,
nice. So you guys met online, you and Distraction Boy, and then come to find out you actually lived quite close together in Meat Space.
Yeah, it was crazy. I was showing the other admins like some of the pictures I had taken from, photography gigs that I'd had in the area, and DeCasso was like, "Wait, that looks familiar. Do you live around here? Or do you live in that area or whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's like 20, 30 minutes away from me." And he was like, "Wow, what?" It's like,
That's
and
funny.
so yeah, it was crazy.
I guess it was meant to be.
Yeah, and it's like I always thought like the first time I'd meet someone from like crypto in real life, I was like anxious. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get kidnapped or something. It was cordial. It was great. It was like, real life chads coming together.
Yeah, we ate some protein infused pizza with mad meat on it, threw some cornhole, and just talked about crypto and NFTs the whole time. It was great.
Yeah, so there's like a lot of people there, and like they were just like, and like I didn't know how to get it or who was. I didn't want to walk up to someone like, "Hey, are you Distraction Boy?" Like there was like people sitting, drinking, like just like a busy Starbucks basically. Yeah, so I go up there and I just say optimism really loudly, and they're just like, no one cares. And this one guy turns around, like, there he is. Like,
And I told Millinish, I was like, "Hey, I look like an old kid. Look for the guy that looks like an old kid."
Yeah, a lot of those here in this space, right? We're all just a bunch of old kids. Never grow up. That's what I say. Never fully grow up.
it's good, man. It's like, it's a mentality, really. Like, I've seen people at the gym that are like in their 60s, like just ripped and shredded, it's like, and then you can have someone that's like 30 or like, they're like, oh, I'm old. I can't like, do it. And not even gyms, just general things. It's like, it's all perception, and you can brainwash yourself, actually be positive, and it's great. It's like you are who you're surrounded with. So it's like the thing about an NFT like culture or like a movement is just like we're surrounding ourselves with people that want to be fit. So it's like great motivation.
Yeah, so let's talk a little more about that for people who aren't familiar with OptiChads and what you all are doing. Like, how would you describe it, or how would you introduce it to somebody?
So like, yeah, it's very art centric, right? So I kind of want it, like when you look at something, it's like first impression, 1 second, it sticks with you, right? So I was going for like power, strong, strength. These are what I wanted to evoke. So it's like just drawing them, it's like shoulder to shoulder, it takes the left and right side. Like there's some PFPs right now, you can kind of see it. In the center, it's the head, right? So it's like it just motivates people, right? It's like, I want to look like my PFP because dude's shredded. He has like 5% body fat or something. It's like it's ideal, it's optimistic. It's like we want that, It's like it's a big like and maybe in the future we grow, we scale. It's like we can do discounts on protein, this and that. But like, we're starting it off with like a strong fitness loving community. And like initially that's how we gave out our whitelist. It was just like, post push-ups, like as a joke, right? And then you get free mint whitelist. And then it was like mint, you can mint up 3 chads, but it was like a lot of work and we actually didn't mint out, right? So we kind of just went up with our public mint anyways. But there's like a few hundred, or like I think it was like 3,000 chads that were minted just by proof of work, basically. And that kind of rolled into our OP rewards for the fitness challenges. But like it was like an enhanced version of that where we actually give out governance tokens, which is cool because it's like then you get people in governance that like typically it's like
Yeah,
field
so
farming. Yeah.
let's talk about that for people who aren't familiar. So basically, you had these fitness challenges that people could do. I think there was one for like squats, there was one for push-ups. I was looking at your Twitter earlier today, and it looked like there was a dance one as well. And basically, if I think it was the most kind of creative and fun use of OP incentives that I've seen so far, is if you did these different activities, OptiChads would send you some OP, right? Is that how it worked?
Yeah, it was like, so we did a different, like I try to hit a different segment, like a different, some arms, abs, legs. So yeah, the last one was dance because that was we had to go out with a bang. You feel me? So that was our last. But it was like a challenge. The first one was like 10 push-ups, and you would get like there'd be manual verification. You'd have to post it on Twitter, be a holder and stuff. But yeah, you'd essentially get OP tokens to the point that it would pay for the NFT in like 1 or 2 weeks if you did it, and even more so. So it was a great, like, the gains, the actual physical, like the endorphins, this, and like people said they got stronger. Like it was great. Like it was fun. It was amazing. And it was just a different way to be active in governance and to participate in optimism. Cause typically it's like incentivized LP. We're all used to it, like maybe you're in a pool or something. But to do something that was like, and NFTs are a little more community centric. And we were the first actually on Optimism to get something passed. And we got 50K OP tokens, which for what we did, it was like very capital efficient, like for getting our name out there. And like we've gained like 1,200 holders since we did that, which is like insane. We have a little
Emphasis on the gained.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
sorry guys, I'm gonna be dropping fitness puns this whole
yeah,
space. They're too good to miss out on.
Yeah, in a bear market, like our growth has been like phenomenal, and it was like, yeah, it's great. It's like it's amazing, wonderful. Like, and it just
It's so
yeah, just
easy.
seeing where these people come from too. It's kind of like crazy. Like we're changing lives, like in a way.
Talk a little bit about that. Where did they come from? Judging
So,
by the videos, it looked like they came from all over the world.
yeah. So on Discord, like it shows you where your community members are from for any like holders. And then I'd always see like, you know, it was like Central Asia, Africa, like US is actually like 3%. Like it was kind of like low staggeringly. And like compared to where our holders are. Right. And there's a lot of factors. I think it could be the art, it could be this, could be that, but it's like seeing people in huts and stuff, and then you start to think it's like how far that money would go, in a place like that. And these people are all priced out of L1, and then like why are they on optimism? Like they kind of want opportunity, like it's in the name, and it just feels good, like knowing that you positively impacted someone's life, and like even exercise, it's like, just helping someone, and maybe like some people are still doing it, like once you're on that endorphin exercise grind and you're in our Discord and like, you're part of a community that kind of like, maybe you'll think twice, like eating something unhealthy or like, yeah, it's fun. It was great. People were smiling, like it was like proof of work, honestly. It kind of reminded me of that. Like you literally see someone working and then you're like, okay, here's your OP. And it was actually Bitcoin that kind of made me think about that. It was like, provable on chain that a miner did this work to mine, a Bitcoin, or they solved the algorithm or whatever. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
amazing.
I love the fitness angle. I'm big into health and wellness myself. So, and I also love this aspect of, just building a strong community around health and wellness and fitness. And then also sort of, bringing it back to the real world with NFTs, which NFTs have, there's a lot of possibilities there to do that. And I think this is a great example of actually, getting people connected to their physical bodies a little bit. And it sounds like it went very well. So kudos to that. Very cool.
It's so easy to kind of get lost in the grind sometimes in Web3, and you need a reminder to, you know, pay attention to yourself and your own health from time to time.
Absolutely. I mean, how are you going to help anybody else if you can't help yourself, right? So I've certainly found that hugely beneficial in my own life. And so, yeah, I think any opportunity to sort of turn people onto that and get them to do it is a great idea. Awesome. So that is all well and good. I love hearing about that. And I want to talk a little bit about take me back again when you were looking around. It sounds like you were on L1. Can you talk about why on Optimism? It sounds like maybe with the airdrop that kind of opened your eyes to what we're doing over here. Is that the case?
Yeah, so it was like the public goods model. I saw like, as an artist, right? I just saw like, what are these projects? Like, what problems are they trying to solve? This and that. And like, I was thinking about which change to deploy on. And then at the time, there was like, you hear about these alt L1s every now and then, right? But I had experience with L2s, and it's the security of Ethereum, right? It's like EIP 4844 is going to come out soon. Maybe I got that number wrong, but it's like
No,
cutting
that's
edge.
right.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah. So the reason L2 is just because 100x gas savings. I have an econ degree. I know that in the future, people are going to transact. If there's a highway and you have to pay like $50, like maybe today, $10, $20 to use it, $500 tomorrow, like, oh, gas is up, YOLO, it just doesn't make sense and especially for art, it's like airdropping, I can do that for pennies. Like it cost me like $600 USD, to freaking mint an L1 contract for a project that didn't do so well. It's like, so it was like, yeah, and I didn't want, it's like added risk to, to use another blockchain that uses another token that's like, kind of very volatile. And it's like just ETH, it's going to be there tomorrow. It has this history and the projects that are, so, and I knew about like, Plasma and like the history of optimism, and it's the first optimistic roll up. It works. It's beautiful. It's like, so yeah, so that's why we did so well. Cause when our mint price was like 0.0015. I just didn't want to get botted. It was like, it took 2 weeks, we minted out. And it's like people can make arbitrage for like $1 in these poor countries, right? Good for them. It's like, but you can't do that on mainnet. So I saw it like, and it worked out. It's like, I guess we're like high quality anime art. If I had to like describe it myself, you see all of that doing so well on like, L1, right? Because all the capital is there, but crypto's fast things, so I really believe in L2. I think that it's like, the cutting edge, the future. And I saw that an opportunity that there wasn't a lot of like original art projects, right? So that's kind of what drove me. It was like I knew the tech and it feels good, honestly. It's like, you know, everything's here. Uniswap, Aave, all these big apps are here. Like I can use leverage, collateralize, whatever, minus the NFT part, right? And on these other chains, NFTs are like, TVL, they're like 10%, 5%. It's really high. A lot of the transactions. You don't really see that on L2, but it's like more than $4.5 billion of TVL on L2s right now. Optimism's like 1 billion of that, right? And it's like NFTs is less than 1% of that right now. So I saw all these. I have an economics degree. I know how to draw. It was like, I made some friends like Distraction Boy that helped me with the website. So, but yeah, I was drawing for like 12 hours a day for like months just to get it to that level, like, living off my OP airdrop. And like, yeah, here we are now. Like, but yeah, like I love
Awesome.
L2. I love it.
Yeah, and so it sounds like you took a bit of a leap of faith, which is awesome. It sounds like because it is still relatively early days. I mean, a lot of the protocols are moved over, if not in the process already. But I would agree with you. It especially in the NFT space, it's still in its nascent stage. More are deploying sort of every week, but it sounds like you looked at that and instead of being sort of intimidated by it, you found it encouraging, right? Almost like a blue ocean and a lot of opportunity.
Yeah, it's like there's so much noise on L1. Like you deploy and there's like no guarantee that anyone will care. You'll just be like, you'll be very drowned out. It's like, but on Optimism, it's just like people will know. Like there's new projects popping up here and there. I hear about them, I see them on my feed. It just like you get that feeling that it's like you're really, the community's small, it's early, and like, and there's that. It's like, would I want to be the number 10,005 project on mainnet, or like the number 1 project on Optimism, or number 2, or I think right now it's like number 5, right? But it's like, I know I wouldn't be up here. It's like, if I deploy on mainnet, can I ask a bunch of people holding, for a governance proposal and like get tokens for my holders and stuff? There's like so much incentive actually to like build on L2, like literally like OP rewards and incentives. So it was that too, like that increases your chances, like, and yeah, it's like people hit us up, like some dude from OpenSea like came to our, months ago, like before Optimism was on OpenSea. It's like he came to our Discord. I thought he was a scammer, and like I was ready to ban him, but it was Bingy. So no, actually it was forgotten his
Baki.
name, but Baki. There we go. You saved me.
Baki from
That was too
OpenSea.
close. Yeah, but yeah, it was Baki. Yeah, so that's how that happened. And it's like, yeah, so it's like there's just so much opportunity because you're like on the cutting edge, literally. Like, Bedrock happens, right? What does that mean for us? Like super, even cheaper, even faster. It's like all the arguments I made before. It's like, the new EIP proposal goes through, right? It's just like people are going to start using this. People are using it now, just not for art, right? So, and what I want to see is like a ecosystem of like a bunch, and there are a lot of great projects, right? But it's like it's at that early phase right now. But it's like once we can maintain and then like see really great volume, the capital will just like eventually, I think, like maybe a few years out from now, it's like there'll be more TVL on L2s, just because it doesn't really make sense, like especially for these smaller,
The other thing
smaller
that
collections. Yeah.
the other thing that we've noticed is that on Optimism, there's a lot of synergy between different creators and collections, and the Optimism ethos kind of, trickles down to the community. So, like, a lot of different creators we talk to and have good relationships with, and there's still a lot to be pioneered on the chain. So, everybody kind of works together towards common goals.
Yeah, that kind of leads nicely into my next question, which I was going to ask, sort of when you were more new to the ecosystem. What was your sense of like the vibe, and even now, like how would you describe like the OP vibe?
Yeah, so when I first started, people were like, it was hype, honestly. The token drops, a lot of like new faces and new people, and that's when I showed up. I was like, whenever something big happens like that, it's like you have these new entrants in the market and stuff. So I was kind of like, whoa. And it's like people are super friendly. It's like less competitive. Like the other projects don't want to kill us, but on some of these other chains, like there's really like, it's really hostile. But like here, we kind of know that we all have to work together to like promote optimism. And it's like, we've partnered with like DeFi protocols and stuff. We've just given them chads and to give to their users, right? And getting these integrations and stuff. And I just like, it just doesn't happen on L1 because like everyone's kind of used to being scammed or something, right? And it's like, but on OP, you can, do your research and like things are smaller. People know things like, it's like,
The only reason why, DeCasso and I found each other was because we were looking for something to do to donate to public goods, and that was my main mission coming into the project. And it was at first the first sketches were pretty rough, but over time, as I saw him implement new traits and stuff like that, I got really excited about the collection. But I wouldn't have even been a part of it if that wasn't like part of the ethos.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, it sounds like you found it pretty welcoming and everybody was pretty friendly.
Yeah, it's in the name. It's like optimistic. It's kind of like it sort of like gets you into, more optimistic. It's just you hear the word, makes you smile. The color red, I think, is kind of like vibrant in a lot of Eastern countries and stuff. I think it gives people hope. Like even the word, it gives me hope. I'm like, OP, let's go, baby. Like, and that's why I wanted OptiChads to be like positive, and then like just the fact that your project is on something like on a block L2 called Optimism, it sounds cool. Like normies will vibe with it more, which is really important.
Yeah, the name Optimism, obviously, it's a nice play on words because it's a optimistic roll up, but it's no mistake. I think it's called Optimism because I truly believe everybody here is very positive, very upbeat, and only wants the best for everyone here and in the space. So very aptly named, I think, and it's just great to see other members of the ecosystem and the community picking that up and running with it as you guys have here.
Yeah, and it really felt like a fresh canvas. Like it was like, I can do whatever I want here, and if it picks up, it'll be like everyone will like it. Like every like look at all the Chad PFPs now. It's kind of like, and it's still like that, right? There's not that many Pepe projects, but maybe on mainnet there's like tens of thousands. If you want to be one of the first on Optimism, go ahead. Like so it's like, yeah, and that's kind of what inspired me. Is like I'm gonna hit it. I'm gonna put everything I can into this art, and then yeah, just see what happens. We'll create our own culture, and we'll like make it so because we can shape it. We can kind of like, isn't health and wellness a public good? So like I was asking these questions and I was thinking about like NFTs and how it's like a social thing and like solving society's problems with NFTs, maybe helping people. Like that's cool, that's great. Like, but yeah, that's
And
amazing.
there's some of our holders have dropped in the Discord to give like different dieting or health advice to people that have asked. Like we've got a channel specifically for like healthy activities and you know questions that people may have, or just kind of promote that healthy lifestyle.
That's awesome. I'm gonna have to pop in there. I actually got a health and wellness channel started in the Optimism Discord, so I'm gonna have to pop over to the OptiChads and see what's going on in there as well. So speaking of like the future and what you guys have planned, I remember you had this funny. Speaking of nutritionists, you had this idea that I thought was great, which is maybe having like a nutritionist in the Discord. I know that isn't the thing yet, but I just thought that was a really fun idea.
Yeah, that's tangible. That's great. If someone in the community is a certified nutritionist, hit me up. But yeah, that's companies do it all the time. There is actually services that do it for Discord, but it's like, yeah, like that's something I want to see, and that's something we can do. Let's get it. Like, let's get that gains. Like, you feel me? And that's what stays with you. It's like, you do those push-ups, you're breaking down muscle fibers, they're building back stronger the next day. And that'll affect you mentally. It's great, man. It's like what we're doing here. It's like I feel like I said this to you before too. It's like NFTs are a cult. Let's not lie. Like even culture, it's like the first four letters, right? It's CULT, right? It's like, but we're a
Mm.
fitness cult. We're a positive
Yeah.
cult. We're embracing it. It's like let's get it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and arguably there's not many things that aren't a cult, and certainly crypto has been accused of that. My contention has always been if you're going to be a member of a cult, make sure it's a good one, make sure it's a positive one. And I can't think of things much more positive than fitness.
Yeah, let's get it, man. Combine the gym and blockchain like that. Let's do it. Like and gains was
Proof of
like it was
work.
crazy. Yeah, proof of work exactly. Literally, like it's like we're breaking bridges or building bridges. Let's do it. But yeah, it's like,
And
and then we get bigger one day in the future. Like I can see like partnering with a protein company and you get a discount and stuff. That's all on the table. It's like it's really tough to get a real life gym, but yeah, like we're working with Atlantis World to like, like to get some metaverse integration, virtual gyms easier, you know, but it's like, yeah, there's really like with NFTs, with art, actually, it's like, it's the one thing that has had value like longer than altcoins. It's like, famous artists like Michelangelo, Da Vinci. It's like they were paid mostly by the church and stuff because they had like a lot of money back then, but like to do art, like, so it's like, this is just
Drawing
we're in a
beautiful
digital
bodies.
society. Yeah, exactly. So it's cool. It's like, and as an artist, it's like, okay, the work I put into the art, it's like, I might have been able to do like, 100 or 20 or like 50 canvases or something. I would have sold them once and that's it. It's like, but think like crypto and NFTs and all this, it gives people like, I'm connecting with people on the other side of the earth that say good morning when I'm sleeping. It's crazy. It's like, I wouldn't have had this opportunity, especially in the like town where I live. It's like, people are like, okay, it's hard to sell a chat, it's like, but on the blockchain, it's like, it connects us. So yeah, it's like, and it's like a network thing. It's hard to even describe what an NFT is, but I feel like we're doing it pretty well.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, Michelangelo. So those artists, they would have a wealthy patron, I think is the relationship you're describing, that would basically fund their works. And in a way, this is sort of democratized that, right? Where you could say the NFT collectors, they're all your patrons.
Exactly. And like they're benefiting, like I'm benefiting. It's like very like, it's like, it's great. And I see it as like coming from like, I'm used to doing figure drawings and stuff like, and one thing you're told is like, there is no, like, you're not allowed to really paint with the color white or the color black because nothing is actually like, there's no outlines and stuff. So when I was drawing the Chads, it was like, I was out of my comfort zone, but I was like, weed is very accessible where I live and legal. So it's like, I would think about aspects to make the art unique and stuff. And it's like, your employer doesn't, you can't do that. Right. But it's like, if it's the people, it's like with NFTs, it's like, it doesn't matter. It's publicly there. People see it. It's great. Like, man, yeah, even like now it's like, I draw anime girls for our next collection, right? Opti Babes, like, I'm gonna donate half of it to a charity. I was thinking Malala Fund because, like, it goes to help girls in like countries where education and stuff is frowned upon or where it's difficult. But yeah, so we're gonna do that. But yeah, it's like, what job, like what institution would be like, hey man, I need like a few thousand, very attractive anime girls. Can you do them? It's like only in crypto, so it opens this opportunity. And I'm like, I grew up like a introvert, like anime kid, like, you see it in the art. It's, I can't hide it. But yeah, I'm literally doing my dream, like it's great. Like I love NFTs and it's like, it's frowned upon. People don't say it anymore. It's like Trump has his cards, Trump cards, collectibles, Starbucks doing their thing. But it's like, yeah, we're building and it's like, I feel like it doesn't matter. Like people are going to come back and it's like, you gotta, and that's kind of that mentality of like, never give up. That's kind of what went into the collection too. Cause there's a lot of like, there's literally people telling me we wouldn't mint out. Like they're like, oh, 10K, make it 1,000, but we wanted like a big community and like go big or go home,
Mm-hmm.
And even
Well,
just go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
And even just like explaining to friends and relatives over the Thanksgiving break, how the challenges are going and how it all kind of works, and retroactive public goods funding and all of that is really eye opening to everyone I talk to. And that's the kind of stuff that kind of brings people in, like, hey, we're encouraging people to work out and they get a little bit of something, in addition, to their physical gains. It's just a really cool concept that kind of brings together like real life and the Web3 grind.
And what you were saying earlier, I've said this before, but I think I said it on the OP radio episode with OpenSea. But if fitness is a public good, art certainly is. So it's very encouraging to hear the story of an artist who is just kind of following their muse and has found a way to make it work. Very cool stuff. Speaking of which, what advice would you have to maybe a new NFT creator who wants to get started on Optimism?
So like, yeah, let's say you're starting from nothing. I would just, set up a Discord, drop some sneak peeks, and keep building, keep tweeting actually. So like we have like over 3,000 tweets. That's just me, every day, like just like my thoughts and stuff. But it was like the fact that you're out there, it's like a tweet is free. You feel me? And then like I would tweet at Vitalik every now and then for like weeks, right? When I was still drawing the art. And then like he tweeted about OptiPunks once, and then I think that was another big rush for like the OP NFTs and how they donated to public goods. And like we donated, yeah, and then I showed to him, I was like, oh, we're going to donate too. And then like he liked it. And then like, he liked a comment or something. And that like is what really kind of got us off. And like since then, we've just been doing like really well. And yeah, it was like, and then we donated on chain like 5.5 ETH and then like probably one after in royalties, like, things slowed down. But yeah, that's cool. It's like, don't give up, just be out there and keep making content and you're going to make it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you were doing a little reply guying in the Twitter mentions.
I still do, like, it's like, I retweet here and there. I have a bot that does auto sales. So it's like, it's crazy. And all this started from like, nothing. And at a certain point, it's like when you have other people like, and that's what's cool about NFTs. These were like just files on my computer that had like no value, but like people value it more, right? It's like the network effect. So that's why like we've done like so we had co-incentives of 50 NFTs. We've been doing a lot of giveaways, but it's like, yeah, I just love that you can just give someone art and then like they'll love it. They'll show their friends. It kind of helps your project too, but it's like we're changing lives too. So it's like
you're the artist, you're the community manager as well.
Yeah.
Sounds like. What other hats do you wear?
All right. So I chill and I'm great. Like that's about it. Just the art. I can't like I could probably learn how to code, but it's like I like to specialize, right? So it's like I guess I use Clip Studio Pro and then I use Photoshop, right? And I actually got certified in Photoshop. So I always was interested in economics, but like art was my thing. You have to have your thing, otherwise you go crazy, right? So it's like eventually I just like
people who listen to the episode with the creator of Motorheads will know that one of the many interesting things that he said is that the artist is really the limiting factor in NFTs, right? Which I found fascinating. Obviously, you have to have some you have to have some technical acumen to put this stuff on the blockchain, but it's really the art and that creativity that is the sort of limiting factor. So I think you're right, man. Stick to your guns. Stick to the art skills. You're on the right track.
I listened to that episode. He was like, good man. Like, I actually like love Motorheads. But yeah, he was like, yeah, he said the vibe too is really important. So like, I actually like, and I agree with him. There's like some nostalgia in it as well. It's like, you got to pull at people's heartstrings, but if they feel something, then you've done something right. It's like if they can feel strongly one way or another, but if someone just looks at something and they're like, then you got to put a little more into it.
Feel strongly.
Yes. Precisely. You want to feel it. You want to feel that optimism, and then we went red background, like, but I always change. Like, I don't know what works and what doesn't work. So I'll change my OpenSea bio for no reason. I'm like, all right, like let's mix things up. I added glasses to the Chad, like just randomly, like after Christmas, so he's looking a little cooler. But yeah, it's just like you can't be content. Like there's always a version 2 in DeFi. You guys know what I'm talking about. Like version 3, version 4. Oh my God. Like NFTs are the same. It's like blockchains, like you can always do better. There's always like, you can't be content. Like that's why as soon as I finish Chads, I'm like, all right, what are we going to do next? Like, cause it's attention is like, is another thing. It's difficult to get, but it's like, you can't shill to people anymore. It's like you have to shill without shilling, which is like, it's crazy. In the bear market, we were just surviving. I was just posting Chad memes, like funny stuff, like just what we do every day. And that just like, and then like when things get a little more bullish, like, the projects that have been out for a year are probably, going to do better than the projects that just came out yesterday, like, so yeah, never give up, because in crypto, it's like sentiment just changes just like that. Like,
Yeah, well, I'd like to tie that back to the theme of fitness. I think a lot of people in this space, but also maybe just in life in general, have a very short-term mentality, very instant gratification sort of need. But I always encourage people, and I certainly try to practice this in my own life, of having more of like a marathon mentality. Consistent effort over time will often yield the best results. And good things do take time. Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say. I don't know about you guys. I got my workout in today. I hope everybody else either has or will later. And I look forward to many more throughout 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't forget a stretch too. Before, after, what it just stretch to is great.
Absolutely. You gotta do the mobility as well. Very important.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it. Be safe, guys.
All right. Is there anything else? Would you guys like to maybe direct, if you were to direct the listener somewhere, what would you have them do? Maybe check you out on Twitter?
So twitter.com/OptiChads, discord.gg/OptiChads, look at the art, hopefully you feel some kind of way and it makes you want to go to the gym, and actually whey protein too. You want that as well.
Absolutely. Make sure you get the good stuff. No preservatives, no sugars, no flavors, just that pure whey. Well, awesome, guys. It was so good having you here. I really hope everybody has a great rest of your day and you've had a good start to your 2023. Yeah, I think this was great.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Amazing.
You bet. All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you on the internet. Stay optimistic.